What if the real weight you carry isn't from your job, your responsibilities, or your to-do list, but from pretending? What if the true source of your exhaustion is the constant performance of being who they need you to be? When was the last time you were truly, unapologetically yourself? Can you even remember what that version looks like? This isn't burnout from labor. It's soul weariness from self-abandonment. And you've been applauded for it, promoted for it, loved for it, but not seen. You're not tired because you're weak. You're tired because you've been strong for too long, for everyone but yourself. What happens when your smile becomes a cage? When your politeness feels like a prison? When your success story is secretly your tragedy? How long will you wear a face that no longer fits? We begin life authentic, crying when we're hurt, laughing when we're joyful, saying no without guilt. But little by little, that honesty gets edited. You learn to smile when you felt pressure, to say it's fine when your chest was caving in. You became who they needed, the peacemaker, the caretaker, the dependable one. But every role comes with a cost, and the currency, your identity. Carl Jung called it the persona, the social mask we wear to navigate society. It helps us survive. But if worn too tightly for too long, it suffocates the soul. Because a mask, no matter how convincing, is not a face. And you've worn it for so long, you mistake it for skin. You've convinced even yourself that this is who you are. But deep down, in the quiet moments, a part of you whispers, there's more. There's someone else in here. And maybe, just maybe, you've started to feel the weight of that silence, that falseness leaking into every corner of your life. You smile through pain, nod through disagreement, laugh through discomfort. You've become fluent in pretending. You've been trained to be nice, not real, to be liked, not respected. Niceness is often mistaken for virtue, but when it stems from fear of rejection, it becomes self-erasure. How many times have you swallowed your truth to keep the peace? How often have you said yes, while your body screamed no? This is not kindness. This is martyrdom dressed in manners. There is a violence in being perpetually agreeable. It tells the inner child, your needs are dangerous. Your voice is too loud. Your presence must be edited. So you disappear, not all at once, but piece by piece, until you look in the mirror and don't recognize the smile staring back. You think you're being loved for your heart, but often you're being tolerated for your silence. And that kind of love is a leash. You learn to celebrate your own suppression. You become proud of how much you can endure, how little you ask for, how easily you vanish for the sake of others. But that is not nobility. That is slow annihilation. Eventually, niceness becomes a drug. You crave approval like oxygen, and in doing so, you suffocate the parts of you that were never meant to be polite. They were meant to be powerful. Some of your deepest wounds aren't from what happened, but from what you had to suppress to make others comfortable. You became the therapist in your family, the fixer in your relationships, the emotional airbag for everyone else's crash. That too is a form of theft, not of your things, but of your time, your energy, your truth. You gave them what they needed. But who gave you permission to need anything? Jung spoke of the shadow, the parts of us we hide because the world told us they were unlovable. But often, our anger, grief, and boundaries live in that shadow. And when you exile them for too long, you start living a lie. You play the role so well, they forget it's a performance. But deep down, you know, you're not free. Your exhaustion isn't laziness. It's the toll of being split in two. The person you present and the person you repress. And emotional labor is rarely acknowledged. You hold their pain, cushion their disappointment, filter your truth to protect their ego, all while abandoning your own emotional safety. You spend hours being someone else's anchor while you're drowning in silence. And when you finally ask for help, the room is empty. There comes a day when the body says what the mouth cannot. When you wake up heavy, numb, disconnected, not because life is hard, but because you've been performing so long, you forgot how to simply be. This is the burnout of the false self. It's not about too many tasks. It's about too little truth, too many roles, too little realness. You may still function, still smile, still meet deadlines. But inside, you're a ghost in your own life. Because the cost of inauthenticity is internal death, a slow fading of vitality. And no vacation can heal that. Rest doesn't touch a soul that's been pretending for decades. Sleep can't mend a heart that's forgotten its own rhythm. You're not overworked. You're overlooked by yourself. And the worst part? No one notices. Because the world rarely questions the well-behaved. It rewards your exhaustion with applause. Until one day, even applause sounds like chains. Rejection isn't always a wound. Sometimes, it's a revelation. People loved the version of you that served them. The version that stayed quiet, stayed small, stayed available. But the moment you speak up, pull back, say no, you see their true face. Let it hurt. Let it open your eyes. Because rejection often mirrors what was always conditional. Their love, their respect, their approval. And in that painful mirror, you meet the sacred question. Who am I when I stop earning love and start embodying truth? You will lose people, but you will find yourself. And the trade is always worth it. Because what use is a room full of people if you have to leave yourself outside the door to be let in? Some rejections are not the end. They are the beginning of self-loyalty. They are the boundary line between who you were told to be and who you actually are. There is a holy rage inside you, not the kind that destroys, but the kind that awakens. The rage that says, I will not apologize for existing. Anger, when clean, is clarity. It tells you where you've been violated, where your yes was stolen, where your silence became consent. This is not about revenge, it's about resurrection. To reclaim yourself is to say, I am no longer available for self-betrayal. I am no longer dressing my pain in politeness. That is sacred work. That is spiritual rebellion. You will be misunderstood. You will be called selfish. But remember, the ones who loved your compliance will always fear your clarity. Let them. You weren't born to be liked. You were born to be whole. And every boundary you set, every truth you speak, every mask you drop, is a homecoming. This is not the end of love. It's the beginning of real love, the kind that doesn't require your disappearance. Healing doesn't look like fireworks. It looks like solitude, boundaries, long walks, tears that finally have permission to fall. It looks like deleting the contact, saying the real thing, turning the phone off, breathing, and slowly, life returns. You begin to laugh without guilt, to rest without apology, to feel without filtering. You realize, I am not here to be understood. I am here to be real. And in that quiet resurrection, you find something priceless, yourself. Not the edited version, not the pleasant one, but the raw, whole, unfiltered self you buried to be loved. Now you love them first. You remember how to inhabit your own soul, how to speak from the center of your being, how to look in the mirror and say, I am enough. I have always been enough. You are not too much. You are not too sensitive. You are not dramatic. You are tired because you've been everyone but yourself. It's time to come home. Come back to your body, your truth, your silence, your rhythm. Let them call you selfish. Let them call you strange. Let them walk away. The ones meant for you will meet you where you truly are, not where you pretend to be. If this message stirred something in you, if it named a truth you've been afraid to speak, then like, share, and comment below. This space is for you, for the sensitive, the deep, the seekers of real. Subscribe not just to this channel, but to your own becoming. Welcome back, truly, fiercely, finally.